Welcome back to Solo Adventures! My name is Livy and I'm here yet again with another BGG Solitaire PnP game contest review. So today the game we're going to be taking a look at is The Lands Beyond, a dice-driven adventure game. So as usual, if you're not interested in watching me play this game and you just want to hear my final thoughts, then feel free to skip to the end. Otherwise, let's venture forth. So let's get set up for The Lands Beyond. You can, according to the rules, pick your own character and your own background, but just for fun, I am going to pick a random one of each. So, let's see what we get. And Karina. And we can set the rest aside, and let's find out what her background is. She is an artist. So that means that her bonus skills are in agility and compassion. So let's set up her skills. You put a cube where the little dot is when you start. And since we have a bonus to agility, we can move this one over. And this is our maximum agility. And a bonus to our compassion. So this shows the maximum number of dice that we can roll when resolving a challenge, and this represents our current strength. Our strength and energy is going to be depleted throughout the day when we use this, and so we're going to have to sleep to gain it back. Karina is not alone on her adventure, however, because she gets to bring along 3 companions. It appears to be Frida Kahlo on the back, but she's not one of the companions. You can also select them, but I will pick them at random. So we have Gia the Clever, Pop the Weasel, and Burl the Bear. So we're being followed around by a bear, a weasel, and a very clever lady. So I'll just set them there. Now we need to set up our deck. So we're going off on an adventure, and we're going to be traveling through the borderlands and into the far reaches. So the borderlands are a little bit less difficult, and the far reaches are a little bit more difficult. So to make our draw pile, we take 10 cards from the borderlands, and then 10 from the far reaches. And you stack them so that the far reaches are on the bottom and the borderlands are at the top. And this will be where we draw our adventures from. And every night we'll have the option to go out adventuring as well, and we have 10 nights of adventure to plan for, so we have to draw 10 Dark Knight cards. We also begin our adventure with 1 treasure. So, there we go. Okay, so we're ready to set off on our adventure. So we have events that happen in the morning, the afternoon, and the night. So let's draw for morning and afternoon. So I could meet a traveling merchant, or I could save a kidnapped prince, and I can decide which order I want to do these in. So I could spend my coin to purchase a small trinket and up my luck. I think I'm going to do this first because there's no chance of dying, so I'll just do that. And luck is very good because it will let me re-roll some dice if I happen to fail a challenge. Alright, so the kidnapped prince. We have an option of either using our compassion or using our agility. So if we pick our compassion, then we will distract the guards, but we need a result of 10. And if we use our agility, we will sneak past them, and we only need a result of 5. So seeing as how I can roll 3 dice or 3 compassion. Well, this little symbol right here means that this is a linked card. So if I resolve this one using this method, I can perhaps later collect rewards if the other E card is later in the deck. So Yeah, I don't think we're going to have enough compassion, so let's just roll agility. We have 3 agility, and every time we roll, we have to reduce by 1. And now we just add the 2 highest dice, so our result is 11. So we succeed, and we slip past unnoticed. So the rewards here show us that this dark icon means that we can increase our maximum by 1, but we cannot increase our refresh by 1 just yet. And then this also shows our renown points, because that is ultimately what we're trying to do in this game, is we're trying to get as much renown as possible. So we can see over here how much renown we get for any given sort of test. So we can see that she's really into agility, not so into strength, into compassion, and not so into knowledge. So when we resolve an agility or a compassion test, then we get 2 renown. And in this case, we did agility, so we get 2 renown. And now it's nighttime. Well, I didn't have to use a lot of my skills, so I didn't really have to spend them, so I might as well just do the nighttime encounter. Enchanted Grasping Vines, so I have to race nimbly past. I cannot flee, so if you flee from an encounter, you can take the punishment, basically. So this is better here. So for the Kidnapped Prince, if I had to flee, then I would exhaust any of my skills. But in this case, I cannot flee, so if I fail, I will reduce my health by 1, and I only have 4 health. So we have no choice but to attempt to race nimbly past, and we only have 2, so we need a 7 or higher. And we did that easily. So the little stars are a wild card, and that means I can increase any of these by 1. Let's increase compassion by 1. We get a coin. And this means that we can refresh 1 skill. Let's refresh our agility. And we get our renown points. So +2. Okay, it's the next day. Guardian Sphinx or a trapped red fox? What should we do first? So let's try to have compassion with this red fox and share a morsel of food. So we have to test our compassion, and we only need a 6. So we can roll our 3 compassion dice, and we have to decrease by 1. And 11, so that's just fine. We can increase our max compassion by 1, and we gain 2 renown. This would have been a linked card, but since I didn't choose Pry Open the Steel Trap, I don't get to keep this one. Okay, the Guardian Sphinx. I can plead for mercy and have need only 5 as a result of my compassion roll, which I'll have 2 dice for. Or I only have 2 dice over here to roll for knowledge, which doesn't seem very likely because I'd need 10. So I am just going to try my compassion. Yep, and that is 9, so we're doing fine. And we increase maximum compassion by 1, so we're already at max. And our renown goes up by 2. So now it's nighttime. My compassion is really low, so maybe I should just increase that. Let's press our luck. A ghostly apparition. We must speak a warding oath. So we have 2 knowledge, and we need at least 8. So we got 5, that's not enough. But we can increase one of our knowledge attempts by 1. So let's see if Gia the Clever can help us out. Yes, and we are successful. But after Gia helps us this one time, then she goes home. But we were successful here, so we can increase one of our stats. I'm going to increase my strength and increase my luck. Then I can refresh one stat, which will be compassion. And I do not get any renown points for this. So, next day. The Enchanted Fairy Circle or the Lost and Lonely Wanderer. Well, I'm really high in compassion, so let's help out the Lost and Lonely Wanderer by sharing a comforting tale. I could sketch a helpful map, but my knowledge is low, so I don't think I'm going to do that. So I can use 6 dice to use my compassion, but I have to reduce it by 1. And yeah, that's no problem. So these light colored icons mean that I can increase my stat by 1, but I can also increase my refresh by 1. So my maximum statistic is already at maximum, but I can still move this up 1. So it's as if I didn't spend it. And I get 2 renown for my compassion. And there. Now we have 10. So now we have to go to the Enchanted Fairy Circle, and my agility is better than my knowledge, so that's what I'm gonna roll. And we can roll 4. Yeah, that's no problem either. We have 8 and we only needed 6, so let's increase our max agility by 1. And renown by 2. It's night. So let's go out. Gnomish illusion, we have to step into the unknown. Oh no, we only have 1 die that we can roll, and we cannot flee, and it's impossible to roll a 7. Unless I get a 6, then I can add +1 from Pop the Weasel, but I somehow doubt it, so we might as well try. 2. No, and now that's completely exhausted. I can't use this until I rest. So I failed, so I take 1 hit on my Constitution, or Resolve, I think is what it's called. Okay, next day. Snarling Beast in Chains. Our compassion's high, so let's do that. Uh, 10, that's enough. And increase compassion, and we get 1 treasure, +2 renown. And then Skeletal Warriors in Pursuit. I cannot use my knowledge, so I'm going to have to spend this there. I cannot use my knowledge, so I'm going to have to test my strength. So, only 2. 5, not enough. However, Burl the Bear would be able to give us +1, but that still wouldn't be enough, so we fail. And we decrease our resolve by 1. So it's nighttime, and my stats are pretty low, so I'm just going to refresh. I can refresh 3 skills. I can refresh my resolve, my agility, and how about my knowledge? All right, next day. fallen griffin hatchling or a frightened apprentice. So I can return the griffin to its nest, which takes an agility of 9. Let's try that. And I can use 4 dice. No problem. So we can increase our maximum agility and restore our agility as well. And +2 renown. And we can keep this card, and if this G pops up later, we will get the rewards for it automatically without having to roll dice. Frightened Apprentice. We can disarm him without injury, and then we just need a 10 on our agility. Or Battle of Blades. Well, our strength is pretty low, so we're going to fight. 10. We just made it. Okay, so we increase our agility again, and we get 1 treasure, +2 renown. And now it's night. Yeah, let's do something. Skeletal Sentry. Oh no, I must test my my strength, and that's not great. So once again, I have to roll a 6 if I have any hope of winning. Let's try. I did! I rolled a 6, and then I can use Burl the Bear, who gives me a +1. So my bear goes home, and he helped me beat the Skeletal Sentry. So let's increase our knowledge by 1. And we get a treasure. And we can refresh one of our skills. How about strength? So the next day. Now we're in the far reaches. This is dangerous territory. I meet a wandering theater troupe, so there's nothing bad that happens to me there. And there's the territorial griffin. So I automatically succeed because I returned the hatchling to the nest. So I will automatically increase my strength by 1 and get a treasure. I don't get any renown for that, but that's all good. Then I can decide if I want to take a lesson from the theater troupe or if I just enjoy a performance. Let's spend some of our gold. That's kind of nice. And let's increase our knowledge again. So that was a pretty nice day. Let's go out at night. Flame-wreathed dragon. Oh my goodness, we must speak its true name. Okay, we need a 10. So let's try. 5, and if we added this, it would just be 6. So we fail, and we lose 1 to our resolve. All right, the next day. Elderly Sorcerer or Sylvan Forest Guardian. Let's fight the Sorcerer by knocking him down. So we can decrease our strength by 1 and we roll 3. Wow, 12. That's very good. And we increase our knowledge and get a treasure. With no renown. And the Sylvan Forest Guardian. Let's use our compassion because we're very good at that. So we'll roll 5 dice. And 11. That's very good. So we tender a sacred offering. And then we can increase our compassion again. And we get a treasure. Oh, I just realized that I had an A attached to the sorcerer. Maybe I will see the counterpart to this card. That's possible. I'm not entirely sure. I'll just hang on to these in case I can cash these in. So let's stay in tonight and refresh 3 of our skills. Okay. Ancient Guardian Golem or Monstrous Fungal Beast? Let's do the Ancient Guardian Golem first, because we can roll 5 dice. And if we succeed, then we can bump it back up again. Yeah, that's good. So we increase our max and increase our refresh, plus 1 treasure. And now the monstrous fungal beast. We can speak its secret name or reach out to its alien mind. Well, our compassion is higher, so let's do that. Uh, 11. Not bad. So we can bump our compassion back up and get a treasure and plus 2 renown. We have 20. And what the heck, let's go out. Hunting Wyvern. Alright, we have to test our strength, so let's leap into battle, and we need a 10. We can roll 4 of our dice. Ooh, that was bad. 6. You know, let's use our luck and just re-roll. So we'll spend 1, and then we can just re-roll all of our dice. Even worse, just 5. Yeah, I guess I will just lose and lose a resolve. Monstrous rampaging beast or a shadowy rogue? Our agility is higher, so let's pick the pickpocket's pocket, and we can roll 6 dice. Oh, that's terrible. Oh wow, that's really bad. It was still enough to... oh wait, no, it was not enough. Oh, I'm gonna spend another luck because that was just unfortunate. Not enough. Not enough. So we fail here, and then we lose a resolve. Not good. So if we lose 1 more resolve, then we lose. So let's outrun the beast, because we have 6 dice we can roll on that. And no problem. We would have increased our agility back up again, and we get 2 renown. There we go. And we are staying in tonight. So we get to rest, and we can put our resolve back up. And how about our knowledge and our strength? So this is our last day on the road. The Majestic Fairy Queen. We can recite a sacred oath, or we can break free of our bonds. Our compassion is still the highest, so let's do that. And 11. So that's enough. And we bump our compassion back up. Get a treasure. And 2 renown. Don't need these. Alright, so let's fight the angry giant hornet with our agility. And we can use 6 agility there. 9. Just enough. Can bump our agility back up and +2 renown. So, let's go out one last time for one last adventure. Will-o'-the-wisp. We need to resist the intoxicating lights, so that's a compassion roll, and we're good at that. That's 9. Ooh, just enough. So we get 1 more luck, 1 more treasure, we can refresh a skill, and we get renown. And that is the end of our journey. So let's tally up our results. So we get an additional 2 for Pop the Weasel over here. So this puts us up to 30 from our renown alone. Now, how much gold do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means that we get an additional 4. So we have 34 renown points. And that makes us a glorious tail. So that was the second highest rank you can get, so not too bad. So in any case, what are my thoughts about this game? Let's talk about it. So as usual, I think we should start by talking about the build. Now, the build for this game is quite easy. It's just a board and some cards. You will need to have some tokens, trackers, and cubes, but it's not a huge deal. This is not too much of a complicated build, and I don't really think anybody should have a hard time building this. So what did I like about this game? Well, first off, I think this game has an extremely cute vibe, and I can't really explain exactly why. It just feels kind of fairy tale-like and wholesome. I like how your character is leaving their home just for the sake of adventure, and they're traveling with some friends. It sort of feels like The Hobbit or something like that, and they're just seeing what adventures the world has to offer in the lands beyond. And so I like the overall premise and feeling that I get playing this game. I think that the black and white that the game is in right now is not exactly what the designer had in mind for the finished product, but what art there is perfectly fine. I appreciate that there is artwork on all of the different cards. Even if some of the drawings are a little bit simple looking, they all have kind of a cute, whimsical vibe, and I just like it. I enjoy the story that kind of emerges from playing this game. I like how you can resolve some events that will be linked to other events in the future, and for the most part they make sense. You save a baby griffin, you might be able to get out of trouble with the mother griffin later on. The core mechanics of rolling and exhausting different abilities and having your strength sort of waning throughout the day I think is very good, and I also really like the choice of getting a good night's sleep or spending the night adventuring. If you get a good night's sleep, you get to refresh most of your skills. But if you spend the nighttime adventuring, you might be tired the next day, but you might also have come home with a pretty decent amount of treasure. I like that there's a variety of character portraits that you can choose from, and the cards are double-sided, so you can be male or female. And I also like at the beginning of the game how you can choose your character's background. My character was an artist, but there's lots of other professions that your character could have been before they became an adventurer. There are also a decent number of companions that you can pick from to travel with you, so that's all very good. Alright, so what are some points of criticism for this game? Well, first off, I think this game is too easy. I've played it a few times and I've never really come close to losing. Maybe I'm not playing it quite right, but I think I am. I'm never really in fear of losing, because every night where I rest I can just regain all of my resolve again. There are only 2 or maybe 3 events that happen in a day, so I don't actually have to exhaust my abilities all that much. As long as I rest once every couple of days, I can usually keep my stats up high enough to succeed at most things that I want to roll for. While I like the idea of the companions, in practice they feel a little bit strange. So from a narrative standpoint, I have 3 people or animals who are basically following me around, but they will only help me out of a sticky situation one time, and then they go home. I don't know what kind of traveling companions these are, or it just somehow doesn't feel right to me that you would have people following you around, they help you one time, and then they leave. I think that maybe the companions could have been substituted for like one-time use magic potions or items instead, and that maybe would have made a little bit more narrative sense. Something that I also didn't like so much was that there's not really much use for money in this game. You can get money just doing various things in the game over time, but there are very few opportunities to actually spend it. And so for the most part, the money that you're collecting is just going to help you get a higher score at the end. And that's okay, but I always felt like I had enough money to do really whatever I wanted, because I wasn't called upon to spend it very often, and when I was, pretty much everything that I wanted to buy was very cheap. I like that there's a point scale at the back of the manual that tells you how legendary your hero will be based on their score, but I always scored extremely high, and I never really felt like I was playing especially well, or even that I was especially lucky. I just generally tended to have high scores. So what is my final verdict on this game? Well, I think that at its heart, this game is built on solid foundations. I really like the kind of game that this is trying to be. The framework of having different ways to gain fame is really neat. I like how it's not just, okay, just fight everything. You can also use your intelligence, or you can use your agility. You don't have to smash everything with a sword in order to win here. The idea about just being a person setting out from their home and gaining experience and leveling up over time is really good and really attractive to me. I like how all of your statistics increase over time. So that said, while I do think this game is built on very solid foundations, I think it's going to need some work before it's in a state that I would find truly fun and engaging to play. So I believe that the gameplay needs to be a bit rebalanced. Right now it's a little bit too easy. I also feel like there really should be more event cards. There are 20 event cards for each area that you go to, and in any given game you're taking 10 out of that, so it's not going to take you very many games before you've really seen everything. I think some of the mechanics could be maybe a little bit better fleshed out, like the companions and the whole economy of this game. But I think these improvements are something that will happen naturally in time if the designer does continue to work on developing this game. And I really hope that they do, because I could see this being a game that I really have a lot of fun with. It tells a nice story, the whole premise is really charming, and I think that with some really lovely artwork this could just be something really fun and light and thematic. Something that doesn't take too long to play through. So do I recommend that you play this game? Yes, actually. Like I said, I think it's a little bit easy, but I do think that there's fun to be had here. If for no other reason but to just try out the system. I think that maybe you should try this game and then tell the designer what your thoughts are, maybe give some suggestions, and I think that in time this game could really be something wonderful. As it is right now, it's kind of a fun little distraction, but I can't really see it keeping my attention for too many plays. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, then please subscribe, and if you want to help support the channel, then you can check out my Patreon. You can also check out the Facebook group for solo adventurers. So until next time, friends, stay adventurous.